Hey everybody, welcome back. So excited to have this time with you guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Minor Ramos here with the TOC agency. We're actually interviewing Mike Donnelly of Donnelly Construction, and some of you have sent in some questions. You know, some really good questions, and so we're really just going through them. We're addressing some of the main concerns that you have or some of the things that you want to know more about. So today, we're going to be talking about accessible space, right? And you know, if you have any questions about some of the other topics that we had, we already covered curbless, you know, shower framing. So if you haven't gone and listened to that section or watched the video, make sure you go ahead and do that, you know, next time after this meeting. So, what do you mean, Mike, by accessible space? What does that mean?
If you have mobility challenges, okay, and mostly what I'm talking about here is wheelchair users, but people with walkers, things of that nature, need to have the ability to turn around properly. And like from example for a wheelchair, it's generally a 5x5 space that's needed for them to be able to make turns, whether it's in a bathroom. 4x4 you can get around, but a 5x5 is ideal. So to be able to make a turn without having to back out, that's a good example. So that space is essential, especially the bathrooms and the kitchens, of course. I mean, that's so urgent to be able to keep safe and to be able to be mobile. So that's generally the idea behind that part of the accessible space concept.
Gotcha. So that you know, when people can understand that part, give us maybe like a picture. Do doorways play a role in accessible space, and how does that tie in?
Critical. I go into many homes that have doorways that are 24 inches, 28 inches, 30 inches. And invariably, first of all, you can't get through a 24-inch door in a wheelchair with a walker either. It's a nightmare. And that's many times involved in bathrooms. The 24-inch, they built them that way. So even the 28 and 30-inch doors, you're going to see all of the woodwork that's around the doorway get all torn up because you're trying to squeeze through with a wheelchair and it just bangs it. So the ideal thing is to have a 36-inch doorway, but you can get away with a 32. So 32-inch, what I do is I put what's called an offset hinge on, which allows the door to fully open and gaining an extra 2 to 3, about 2 inches. So now you've got instead of a 32, you got a 32 with an 1.5 inch loss. Now you've got a full 32 and you can often get through. 36 is ideal though.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, and I'm always thinking of like some of the other implications that come along with this, like, you know, any of us trying to put in a sofa, you know, inside that house. I mean, we don't even think about this stuff until we have to do it, and we either taking the legs apart or moving stuff around. So obviously, but you know, there's a lot of things, a lot of components to this. So let's get back to
let me do something.
space.
Let me do something for on that doorway. I built 6 barrier-free homes that were specifically intended for the wheelchair concept. But you touched on something really cool, and that is the moving the furniture. All of a sudden, people can move furniture in their room, and they don't even know why. They don't even know why it's easier in this house than it was in the last house. Well, you know, I got lots of stories behind it, but that is so true, man.
Oh, that's awesome. So we're almost done here, but tell us a little bit more about accessible space and the barrier-free design, which we've been kind of alluding to.
The accessible space tied into the barrier-free design. So when I go into a home, I'm going to look at what's needed. And if that accessible space doesn't exist, well, that's something that I have to estimate for the person. I'll tell them about, and if they can afford to do it, and or we can work something out for them, we do that. And the barrier-free design is so, it ties into everything we've already talked about, whether it's the bathroom creating the space, or whether it's a kitchen creating the space, or whether it's a doorway that you're going to be able to give somebody full access to. And then the accessible space also ties into the entries, you know, where you can roll into something versus having to step up and over something. All of that stuff plays a huge role in making a person's life so much better. If you're in a chair, you want the independence to be able to get in and out of your own house. It's a dramatic effect. And when we talk about accessible, barrier-free homes, that's what we're talking about.
Well, that's amazing. You know, Mike, what I really like about this is that you have a vision for, you know, helping people, you know, with mobility needs. But I always think about even someone who doesn't have that need right now, but maybe they go and, you know, get into an accident or something like that, something crazy happens, and then now they see themselves in this space. So for our listeners, thank you for joining. You know, we'll be bringing you more content regarding, you know, this idea of accessible homes. I mean, I think it's just a right that everybody should have. And so I want to thank Mike and Donnelly Construction, you know, for running this and helping us understand it. Thank you for the education. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, Ramos.